Hey guys, welcome to RC Projects and welcome back to the Drift Project. It's been a while since I've done a video like this with the TT01. I think it was probably about a year and a half to 2 years ago since I actually sat down at the desk with a camera with the Drift Project on the desk. So yeah, quite excited. Got something that I want to change on it today, which you've probably seen in the thumbnail already, and that is a brand new servo for it. But before we do that, I'm just going to quickly run through the changes since the last video really. Now I have run the TT01, the Drift Project, twice at two separate drift days, down at Fazeley Town Hall with the Midlands Drift Society, and yeah, it was complete full days of drifting, and I've run into only one problem, which I'll show you in a minute, but other than that the car performs fantastically. I haven't had to really do anything to it except add a bit of camber to the rear, just to give it a bit less grip at the back. But yeah, other than that, no changes at all. It's as it was in the last video. So a year and a half ago to 2 years ago, it's exactly the same. So yeah, really happy with the setup and how it's drifting at the moment. Few aesthetic changes you'll see. Obviously the wheels. I got these at one of the drift days. They were £18 for a set of 4, and I got a brand new set of MST Silver Dot tyres. The wheels that I had before, the MST adjustable offset wheels, are very well known to be not very well balanced and quite shaky and cause a lot of wheel shake. And when I'm doing onboard stuff like I do, wheel shake like that isn't really helpful. So, and it just makes the whole car in general shake a lot more and be a bit less predictable. I am going to change the wheel nuts inside. I don't want them to be blue, I want them to be black, but they're just for now. Nick them off the Mini. But yeah, wheels look pretty good, and they should be, well, the whole car should be a lot smoother with the new wheels. Other aesthetic changes, I've taken off some of the stickers, which you've probably already seen in the videos anyway. I have slightly cracked the body down here. That was from cutting out, making this grille aperture wider. I did accidentally nick it with a knife. This was back 2 years ago, and obviously me running the car, it's just split that a little bit more. So I've drilled out a hole at the bottom so the crack doesn't get any bigger, and just put some tape over it. I have fully polished the body with some Autoglyn Super Resin polish, just to make it look a bit better. That's it for aesthetic changes to the TT01. So I'll take the body off and quickly show you the chassis, show you that problem that I encountered, and then we're going to fit this new servo. The chassis itself has seen very few changes. I've remade the front bumper, intercooler, radiator bracket, and the body mounts. Now that I'm a fabricator welder and I've got a bit more knowledge, I was able to make them a lot neater and a lot more precisely, so the body sits flat now. That's sitting flat, and the mounts generally look better anyway. I've changed the oil and spring rates in the shocks. I think I'm running a 20 weight oil in the front and a 40 weight oil in the back, with a stiffer spring at the back and a softer spring at the front. The problem that I did run into was you can now see that the bottom arms are now plastic. I've gone back to the stock plastic ones simply because the aluminium ones that I had plastic ball joints in there, and when I was hitting the curbs, the ball joint will pop out of place and lock up the suspension. So I've switched to the stock plastic arms with stainless steel ball ends in there instead, or ball joints in there instead. So it's a lot smoother now, and they don't pop out as much. So, well, they don't pop out at all. So that's one good fix. Standard setup on a TT01 is to have the receiver mounted on top of the servo. So I need to remove that first. It's just held on with a bit of double-sided tape. Then we'll just remove all the plugs at the same time. I've got them all zip tied together, so I can remove that. And the next step is to remove this side of the servo arm. We can just take the whole thing out rather than having to take the chassis brace off and remove it from the steering setup itself. Just remove it by the horn there. There you go, so that's the steering linkage detached. Now what I'm going to do is just go underneath the chassis and undo the two screws that are holding this in place. Now I've got to undo all my tidied up wiring to get the servo out, but we can retidy it when the new one's in. And there we go, there's the original servo from the very first episode of the Drift Project. It's a SC0254 metal geared servo. It's got a speed of 0.114 seconds between 60 degrees, whereas the new one is 0.08 seconds between 60 degrees. So the new one is nearly, not far off, twice as fast. And it's low profile as well, so it's a lot smaller. That's the original Drift Project servo. This is a Yeah Racing Hack Gear low profile servo. It's the orange version. You do get 4 colours plus just a plain black. You get red, blue, pink and orange. So obviously went for orange, being as it's the same colour as the aluminium parts on the chassis. And this is going to be a lot better suited to the chassis and to drifting in general. It's it's incredibly fast. You usually measure servo speed between 60 degrees, and this can move between 60 degrees at a speed of 0.08 seconds, which is very, very fast. A lot faster than the Savox servo I've got in there at the moment. See the standard size and the low profile size. So it's much, much smaller. It's a bit lighter as well. Comes with a plain black cable rather than the coloured one that the Savox does. And it's got the nice aluminium surround on it. So it should match the car very nicely. So it's a, let's see if you can read that. It's a YE0022 Yeah Racing Hack Gear servo. Before installing or centering or readjusting the horn on any servo, you're going to want to turn it on first just to centre it, make sure it's where it wants to be, and then do what you want with the servo and servo horn. So you just turn it on and it's centred itself and you're ready to go. So the servo is in. I've used exactly the same horn that I had on the Savox, same mounts and everything, so the installation is exactly the same as removal, just in reverse. So yeah, so it's all in. Just quickly turn it on, test it out. It is a little bit twitchy, had it on before, but it might be because there's quite a lot of interference around here. I've got the PC on, got the screen on, got various lights and stuff on, so, but really fast steering. Much, much faster than the Savox, so I'm happy with that. It should give me a bit more control, so I'm going to tidy up the mess of wiring and should be ready for Saturday. That's the wires all tidy, just got a little zip tie clip down there that's stuck to the chassis, just to tidy all the wires down there. Due to this servo being a low profile version, I was able to move the ESC back and have space down there to stuff all the wires. That's your lot for episode 13 of the Drift Project. I had a quick look back at the channel history and found that the last video that I did like this with the Drift Project was in 2016 in July. So it's been nearly 2 years since I featured the Drift Project on the channel like this. You've obviously seen the previous running videos of it, but not actually a proper build video. And I just want to say a big thank you for all your support of this project in particular, because it is the most watched project on the channel. And I'd just like to say a big thank you for supporting the channel in general. Thank you for watching, liking, subscribing and commenting. I really, really appreciate it. The channel has grown massively just because of this project alone. So yeah, big thank you to all of you who have been supporting the channel. Thank you very much for watching. If you want to check out the Facebook and Twitter pages, links are down below in the description box, and I shall see you next time on RC Projects. Bye.